Help. So one of you is a penny boy, an underdog, some might say, not even top 7 of the 6 major companies, and the other is a Sony reptilian, thoughtless, careless soul that squeezes you of your wallet. Which is which? Can you even tell the difference? I fooled you. I talked about the penny boy and the Sony and huh? We're at 20 mil? S5 IIx? Fantastic. I already reviewed the damn thing. There's nothing different. There's nothing different in here. It looks black. It's cool. Is it? I can't even see the buttons. So black. So what we're doing today, I'm giving you my general thoughts on the improvements of the S5 IIx over the S5 II, and they finally sent me the 70-300. I took it out yesterday for some wildlife extravaganzas. We'll be reviewing that soon. 5. And then I will get blunt as to where Pennyboy stands in today's industry, and if this is enough, or is it already dated technology upon release?
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
Alright, so first things first, the Panasonic S5 IIx. Thank you, Panasonic, for lending it to me. I'm keeping it. Thank you. Here's the 20-60 kit lens, Tony 3.5. I compensated with the Sony stopping it down. No longer will I handicap my life for you. Now we're flashing lights everywhere. Uh-oh. Did not plan ahead for that. Uh-oh. Stopping down the shutter like a professional would till the flashing goes away. We're both in auto white balance with a light source, lantern in its abilities, and a window to throw a curveball into the mix. I'm sick of this already. Let's switch it on. I'm going to zoom into 24 and we compare to Canon, but who's doing the colors? Just pay attention. Who's doing reds? I notice Panasonic is just so saturated for some reason in the red area. I'm trying to work around it. Maybe it's my fault. I don't know. Decent colors though. You'll see in the wildlife stuff. Colors are real. Let's move on. First, let me just say, when I'm zooming this lens, it's stiff and annoying. Not stiff like, oh, it's hard to do. It jumps. Rubber, something's off. Same thing with the 70-300. When I'm manually focusing, it's like movements. Jerking, jumping motions. What are you doing, Penny Boy? It should be gliding smooth. Have you ever manually focused on a Sony? It's so, my God, unbelievably smooth and easy and perfect. The linear focus. Why'd you shut off? I hate you so much. All right, there's an elephant in this room, and let's get him out. The Panasonic S5 IIx has a bunch of extra features over the S5 II. If you buy this camera through my affiliate links, you'll get none of them, not one of them. It's all a bunch of filmmaker stuff where you're rigging out things. You got a monitor on top, your Atomos Ninja 15. So apparently, Panasonic has somehow acquired a deal to shoot Blackmagic RAW. Internally, no. Even my OG could do it, even though it's this thin, thinner than a pencil sharpener. But there's only SD cards in here, not even a CF Express. Even your GH6 had a CF Express. Come on. So like, it's cool if you're planning to rig it out. Could you beat this thing for the price? You're shooting Blackmagic RAW. You probably love that. You got the best stave in the business. Panasonic colors. RAW. Wow. But it ain't in the camera. It ain't for us. Which is the biggest conundrum I don't understand. Because they priced it so low. It's like a budget thing for content creators. But you do need to buy a house with it. Like all this extra stuff, and then it's not this run and gun thing that's in the budget category. I don't understand you. Let's switch lenses. Why, hello. Hello to us. Tony 1.2. 35mm Voigtlander. I just zoomed in with the stiffy, creepy zoom. By the way, I like that I can see the numbers on the screen as I zoom. That's cool. Thanks for coming on board. They had that technology in 1800s. We'll go for a little vlogging test on the Penny Boy. That's set up. I mean, you're not getting more stable. and then we'll get into the wildlife footage. But as we're witnessing right now, Panasonic defeats a more expensive Sony camera, kind of. Maybe not with this lens. I mean, Sony also shoots RAW externally. That's not a life I want to live, where I have to... You wait till the rig I have, this freak rig with monitors up and cords dangling everywhere. It's not a life that's worth sacrificing the peace of mind that used to come with just a simple setup. Little flippy screen, everything in camera, boom. That's what we need. This is not for us YouTubers. Like, most of the things, it's giving me warnings saying like, you can't record this codec to SD card. What are you doing? It's saying like SSDs only. All right, I have one final special comparison that I can't even talk about, but we're going to 60mm max on here, and something that I have to review soon that nobody knows about. Some people know. We are doing Blackmagic real RAW versus pretend fake RAW. Even though it's whatever. 1080p on both. Blackmagic OG. This lens will be reviewed soon. I think this makes the system something magic, and we will know it for sure. Pandaboy, why didn't you just include Blackmagic RAW inside the camera? That would have been fun, but you're not doing it. 60mm versus like 85mm, possibly moved back. Am I exposed? Why does that monitor look so bright? I have no idea, but there's no zebras on my face. There's a slight chance that I'm not overexposed. It's pretty amazing the versatility of this lens, as we've seen from the beginning. 20 to 60. That range is pretty fantastic. You got your vlogging 20, and then cinema 60. I can dig it. It's not like this is a bad system. It just can't do any of the fun things it pretends to do without help. I could get out of a bathtub with help. Anybody could do that. Oh no. I could lift this couch if I had another man helping me. Ninja V. Alright, let's go out for a little vlogging test, and we look at the wildlife footage, review the 70 to 300, and then talk about where does this camera sit now that Sony ZV-E1 exists, Canon R8, Nikon Z8. That's not even in the running. Is the Panasonic even as good as the Sony X3000? Probably not. Certainly less innovative. Less updated with firmwares, that's for sure. Sony X3000. Oh, somebody gave it to me. Oh, yes. Let's all go subscribe to that guy. Sony X3000 back in our lives. Oh, this is just... Let me leave this by a dumpster here. Not needed. The real review is the Sony X3000. Coming back to us, still not being beaten today. 1080p, 24p, if it was a foot. It's actually probably less stable. I've noticed it. There's a lot of weird jerks that happen in that X3000, but it was good. First day. You don't know that it wasn't. I'm just in standard color, just because I hate working with Vlog. I don't know how to make it look the way I want it to look. So there should be a bit less dynamic range, or did I turn on iDynamic in the menu system? That's what I used to do on the Panasonic G85, and it was just like, wow, this is so cinema-like. I do apologize, Panasonic, if I'm being harsh on your camera, not only dropping it physically on the floor, but also insulting its specs. Just because I think like all these cool things it can do can't be done without an Atomos Ninja. Who's buying that? And then like a big cable sticking out, and then a battery powering that, and then an SSD drive to get the files off. It's like, that's a lot of extra stuff. I won't talk about it again, I promise. Alright, I will now cross the street in 180 frames only. I'll be doing 240 over here, if you don't mind. How compact is that vlogging rig? Oh man, clips on, just boom, right off. Alright, I've had a chance to review the footage. What I noticed first was that I have pink eye and I should see a doctor. That's what first struck me. The second thing was, Penny boy, pretty beautiful. It's not as beautiful as Blackmagic OG, of course. It's sharper, but sharpness is for fools. Alright, there's one thing you have to know about this camera. It's not actually a full frame camera, let me explain. Right now we're in full frame. Cool story. This is fun. If you want to do anything fun, we're cropping right in there. Here's a picture of a better camera, and this is 1080p full frame, 20mm, boom. If you want to do 4K 60, that's quite the crop, isn't it? Oh, that's a bitch. Going back to the 1080, yeah. So aps-c on that 4K 60 somehow in 2023. And if you want to go 180 frames per second, you're also cropping. That's a hurtful one. It's a bit less of a crop than 4K 60 for some reason, but you're cropping everything. So when I go out for wildlife, I'm on aps-c Fuji mode. You might as well have a Fuji at that point. In fact, I want one. Will anybody trade me this camera for a Fuji? It's mine to keep, I think. But if you ignore all that utter nonsense I just spoke to you, you go out and you just shoot, like, you cannot get a better image than this. I'm telling you, this is so stable. This is hands down the most stable system I've ever used. With this lens, 70 to 300, this is all animal tracking, by the way. And it did a really good job. This was a good test because there's twigs. There are twigs in front and twigs behind. And it was sticking on them pretty good. There was like one moment maybe it latched onto the front twig, but I mean, what are you gonna do? There's a bird's ass and a twig. What would you rather have? But that was the first thing that struck me. Hot damn, that is a beautiful image. I can't believe how stable it is. Like when I'm standing there on most systems, especially the Sony, they're like mad at myself. Like, why can't I keep this still? Like in the viewfinder, it's just waving up and down. I'm like, stay still. Hold it against the head. I got 3 points. I'm leaning against a tree. Come on. Whereas this is just like, wow, am I moving or not? Because it's rock solid steady. Fantastic. Now, is 70 to 300 enough for wildlife? No. It's Pennyboy's only lens. You have the Sigma, I suppose, but that's a third-party lens. I can't believe Pennyboy doesn't have something longer than 300 mils, but whatever. Who needs it, though? Who needs it when you have a great egret about to shake, shaking the booty like it's hot? Oh, wow. What a dance. A mating ritual witnessed here first on Panasonic. Can't believe it. I mean, it's not terrible, 300mm for wildlife. You get more of the environment. I don't mind it at all. You're not getting a lot of close-up shots, although we did get some. But that's a pretty beautiful image. And he did take off. He's about to jump up to the log. Boom, boom. I racked focus to 30 yards ahead. I was like, oh, damn, I overestimated that one. That's on me. That's on me, fellas. Then I switched into full frame 180 frames per second HD. While it does look like utter garbage, he flew. And I was like, yes, let's do it. I'm tracking you totally. Oh, there's a lot of foliage in between me and you. Oh, I should have planned that better. I'll leave. I'll go home. If you want a mirror duck in your life, I got you one. I got you one. This is Cinema 4K, by the way. 10-bit 420 for some reason, not 422. Can't believe they're not even doing 422. Oh, God, it hurts. That means if I want to play around with color grading, well, I can do it. It could be done better with 422 color science abilities. But here we have that. It's no demon lut bird, but whatever, this will have to suffice for now. As the red-winged blackbird struggles against the green background, a blue-jacketed person juxtapositioned the color science, and it was a moment to behold. Running for your life, but calm on the inside of the branch. 4K 60 versus 180 frames per second, I can't even tell the difference, can you? No, of course not. It's not less sharp or just fugly looking. This is as close as I could get at 300mm. It's almost a macro lens. I was right up there, probably less than a foot. Who knows, it probably says on the website exactly how close you can get, but colors, beautiful, macro abilities, they are there. And I'm just moving here, I'm not rack focusing, I'm just like getting closer to the ground to see how close I can get. Some things to know about this lens, it does creep. So when you're walking, eventually that's at 300mm. It has a lock, but who uses those? We need new technology to where like it just clicks into place at 70. Click, and then it locks, and then you just boom, unclick it. A nice easy click, not a difficult one. And the other thing is just, I've already mentioned that stiff zoom. It's just like it moves. It's like stiff instead of gliding perfectly. Same with the 20 to 60 zoom. I don't get the workmanship. It's disappointing. But the stabe is fantastic. The autofocus seemed to keep up. Sharp as a daisy. Lens hood protects from falls on the floor. Sorry about that one. And so far so good. Light, pretty lightweight. That was a full frame system. And I was like, damn, this is so much lighter than I'm used to. This is nice. Not bad. Not much reach. That hurts. Now, autofocus wasn't perfect always. I had a little box on that Robin, and it was detecting him the whole time. This whole thing had a box around the Robin, but I didn't even notice that it jumped off. That hurt. Now, the coolest moment of the day, I saw this king black duck, and it looked at me, and I was like, oh my god, he's about to take off. They always do. As soon as they see you, they run for it. So 4K 60, we're in animal detect. He's getting ready. He's okay. Let's do this. He's like, oh god, he saw me. I'm out of here, Johnny. Let's go. It was tracking him good, I think. I don't know. It seems like everything was in focus. The cinema was ours. Now, this was the most beautiful shot of the day. I don't know what it was. Just that starling so close to me, so he's in perfect sharpness with the dandelions in the background, different color, the yellow and the green, but still some environment above the hill, and it was like separating the scene, and he's just running around unsuccessfully trying to find food. I don't know what it is about starlings. They always dig and they never get anything. There are no robins, that's for sure. They're just always poking around. They get nothing to eat ever. I don't get them, but that was a beautiful shot, Panty Boy. And if 4 baby chihuahuas was your thing, I definitely found them. They were across the street, prancing around, chihuahua-like. They come from Mexico. They were imported illegally, and I don't mind it. They were exchanged for 17 tacos, and it's a good price. It was a good deal. You can't pass up that deal. They all have different colored necklaces. That's what you call that. They're curious about humans, but they don't want to be touched by them, and I don't blame you. She probably hurts. Dry hands. It's winter time, so be careful of that. And this one almost leaped to his death. He was coming towards the curb. He's not on a leash. This is a busy-ass road. I was like, he's not gonna... Oh, he's jumping on the car. Oh my god, he's gonna die. And then the owner said, I'll give you a taco. And he believed it, and he came back. So where does the Panasonic stand against Sony and Fuji and Canon? I'm not sure. It's more capable than most. If you actually had a Ninja V recorder, and it's on there, and you're committing to that, it's like, okay, boom, we got Blackmagic RAW for like not much money with the best stave in the business. Like, I can see the audience that would appreciate this. If you just wanted a simple camera for vlogging or YouTube production, it's a bit overkill and underkill. Lacking in the slow-mo specs, it's mostly crops. Autofocus is good. Color science, okay. If you can work with the log file, which oversaturates for some reason, I don't get that one, but I feel like with the Sony ZV-E1, you got 4K 120 with barely any crop, same as the A7S III. 240 frames per second HD with autofocus. Ow. The stave won't be as good, but then they have that super crop mode, which doesn't work in any of the slow-mo things, I think. You got super stable image if you want it, super cropped, but you're cropping in a lot of your modes. So like, that's a tough sell, man. They're similarly priced. The Canon R8 matches the specs, but its 4K 60 is not cropped. Neither is its 180 frames, and this is manual focus only in 180 frames. Canon does autofocus. Terrible battery, no stabe, but sometimes that's nice. Most of their lenses have stabe, so it could balance out. I don't know, man. And Fuji also doing 4K 120, HD 240, but we've seen what that looks like. I get that there's a place for Blackmagic RAW in a camera. It's fun. My Blackmagic OG, I love that image. It's a pain in the bitch to use, but okay. Some people, it's all about the image, and you get that with Panasonic, and the most stable. If you just forget all the specs and you just go out and shoot, you can't beat this thing. But you could beat it in so many other ways with all the other cameras I mentioned for less money. If you're all into anamorphic lenses and you're making movies and you have the best video assist tools, but does that even matter because you're using an Atomos Ninja V anyway? So like, who cares about your built-in waveforms? And I don't know, man. And run and gun, it's still pretty good. And don't quote me on any of this. I don't know if you can record Blackmagic RAW to an SSD card thing, or do you need the Atomos Ninja? I have no idea. I have neither, so I could test nothing but the basic codecs, and there's a lot of warnings in that thing, but it's not bad, Penny Boy. Myself, I'm more interested in what the S1H2 will do. Something beating my A7S III. Right now, you're still in the bottom feeders league, and you're punching it out with those goblins, and whatever, I wish you well in the arena. What do you think? Which did you prefer out of all the things I tested? Was the wildlife footage good enough? Is this a filmmaker's dream? Am I crazy? Do you have anamorphic lenses? I have never used one. Thumbing up the video? No? You buying a Camera Conspiracies t-shirt? Or this camera through my affiliate link? Did I sell you? No? Panasonic never lending me another camera again? I'll leave. Subscribe for more videos. I'll see you next.